Counselling service, question mark.
Well,
What do you think
from this
in particular
year,
needs to be done?
as being women's officer, I've been dealing with the health centre a lot, and especially with the counselling services. And one of the biggest ones, actually, the addiction counsellor in there, Donald Kiernan. I'd actually like to see his work like promoted more and publicised. Make sure students know about it, because a lot of students don't know about it. The first time I saw it being written down somewhere, sent out to students, was in the vice president's email about 2-3 weeks ago. And he himself would like to see a lot more students coming into him, because there's a huge problem out there with alcohol addiction and drugs, gambling, any addiction there is. And I think students will be they're afraid to admit that there is a problem there. Not every student, but there is a problem out there. And also, I think there's 5 counsellors at the moment. And Marie Murray, the new head of counselling, just arrived last week. Um, there needs to be a huge improvement on the hours that they spend there and the amount of counsellors there is, because at the moment it can go up to at least 2 weeks, and there's only they keep a slot themselves for emergencies, when there's an emergency with the students. But there definitely needs to be, and it's been promised every single year, and I'd actually like to see it being put into place this year. And if not, like, it needs to be, because it's something that students demand the attention of constantly all the time from day one. And unless you're in the health centre from September day one, you can't get an appointment for 2 weeks after that. Like, you need to be in there straight away.
That's very true. Viv, if you can just chime in on what do you think needs to be done with the counselling service?
That well, of course, an increase in the counsellors that are available to the students would be a huge help. And I mean, that would help to work on the backlog that's there, the long waiting list. Waiting lists are terrible. If you're a student who is in need, right, and I mean, you have to wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks can be that could be 2 weeks too long. I mean, if you're there, you're in serious need, and then you're told you have to wait 2 weeks. You've had the courage to go up there and said, look, I need some assistance, I need a little bit of help. And then you get this, look, I'm very sorry, we've got a huge waiting list. I'll put you in 2 weeks' time. That's not fair. That's just not fair. It's not helping the students at UCD. So firstly, the amount of counsellors needs to be increased. Secondly, it needs to be advertised more. And I mean, it is something it's getting out there eventually, but it's not getting out there enough. It's back to the start. When the students come in first year, they need to be told, they need to be informed that they can get help with these issues, and that it can come from lecturers, it can come from student advisors, it can come from the general students that can inform their friends. And look, never be afraid to ask for help. So number 1, increase the number of counsellors. Number 2, increase the opening hours for the counsellors to work. And number 3, it needs to be advertised more.
Okay. This next question is back to yourself, Viv. The corridor can be going into Students' Union corridor can be quite an intimidating place, because it is a place that a certain amount of predominant union members and officers and in class reps and such do spend a lot of time, and it can be, and I've heard it considered very kind of difficult to go to the welfare officer in particular, because if someone is in a situation, it can be very intimidating going to the welfare officer. So what would you think of the idea of you kind of house calls, I suppose is the best way of putting it, like in general, or like if students can't come to you, go to them,
right?
Do you think, would that be something we should definitely look at?
Yeah, that's a very good, very interesting idea. That it's very important. I accept, firstly, that yes, the student union corridor can be an intimidating place for someone coming in who's seeking help, who doesn't know one, and everyone else seems to know everyone that's in there. Mm-hmm. So yes, it can be somewhat intimidating. However, it is necessary to have a base. It is necessary to have somewhere that you know you can go to. And it's for instance, the welfare officer. It's good that the welfare has an office in the Students' Union corridor, so as that you know that's where you can go to seek some assistance. You know that the secretary's office, the PA's office is down there, and if you need to contact someone urgently, well, I mean, there's a good place. Yeah, it probably would be a good idea to have a kind of a house to house kind of thing,
or perhaps a clinic.
Yeah, a clinic perhaps in each school once a month, or once every 2 weeks would be a good idea. And that it's a great way of getting the welfare officer out there. It's a great way of seeing the difficulties and problems that are arising in each school, and that it's the welfare officer could pick up ideas as they go through the campus and go into each school that they may not have noticed before. And that it's also that if you're in engineering and there's an engineering student there and they see that welfare officer is in there, they can just pop across from their lecture instead of having to go all the way down to the students' union. Yeah, I think it's a very good idea and well worthy of some thought, and possibly could work very well if it was thought out correctly and put into practice correctly. So yeah.
Okay, Carol-Anne, do you think that it is a very kind of intimidating place, and how would you tackle that? No, I just left you by mentioning the whole clinic, which is purely just an idea on my own behalf. But is there any ways that you think that we could get the welfare officer out there? Because it is I know that the welfare officer's job is mostly personal cases, one-to-one jobs. How do you see a way that we could make it a higher profile or with the student body as a whole?
Well, setting up, I think, going to each faculty for a certain period of time every day, every week, like just renting or booking a room there where each of the union officers could go, for in each faculty, for students to come in and just pop in, even for an hour each per day or per week or something like that. Like, it's vital that the students know that there are officers there that they can come to if they have a problem or if they have an idea or if they have something they want to deal with. And yes, the union corridor can be very intimidating, and I did find it very intimidating myself when I first started going there and hanging out and whatnot. But like for students who wouldn't be class reps or wouldn't be union officers, it can be quite scary coming in, especially if you're coming in with a personal case going to deputy or education or welfare. I think definitely the welfare officer should be out in each faculty, and even go, like, if like a commitment made with becoming welfare officer is that you are willing to give up your free time after hours. It's not just 9 to 5, that's it, go home and you're finished. It's, you have to make that commitment that if you're needed by the students, you'll be there for them.